Hello everyone, I'm back with my second vlog. Hope you can hear the beautiful spring sounds outside, the birds in the trees and the wind rustling the new leaves. I always love spring because it reminds me that even after a hard time, things will get better. And that is the message of today's video. It gets better. Part of the reason that I wanted to start a YouTube channel about my story is because I'm a little bit older than a lot of the folks that are exploring their queerness, gender identity, sexuality on the internet these days. I wanted to offer myself as an example of what being an adult, grown-up queer can look like. And even though my journey started off at a rough place, being excommunicated, which was a traumatic experience that took many years to heal from, things did get better, and I want to assure you that no matter where you come from, life can get better from where you're at right now. And I know that when we're young, in our teens and our 20s, our current moment can really feel overwhelming and like it's the whole world and the whole moment. And if you're a teenager, maybe your life has been one way for as long as you've known it. Maybe your life is full of anxiety, like my teenage years were, or depression. That is a problem that a lot of young people have these days. It won't always be that way. There are other ways to live your life. I grew so much from my little baby sprout seedling self. I thought that I would never get over the depression that I fell into after I was rejected by my entire faith community. But I came back. I came back stronger than before, and since then I have just continued to grow into a proud, radical queer. I am so happy with where my life is at today. Some advice that I can offer to those of you who feel like you're in a dark place and you don't see a joyous future for yourself. If you are in a place that does not have a queer community and is not safe or inspiring for queer people, consider moving. I grew up in the suburbs in a conservative community in Florida. I never felt at home there. I always knew that my home would be somewhere else. Cities tend to be safe havens for queer people and tend to have some kind of community of artists and just people who are different. So if you feel like you can't find yourself exactly where you are, consider moving to another place where you might be able to find people who are like you. It really saved my life to move away from my hometown and just build a new community that was based on the things that I'm interested in and the kind of person that I am. Not every city is safe, of course, but do some research and see what appeals to you. Do a little bit of traveling if it's possible. There's lots of options out there for us. Secondly, if you're feeling lonely and like you can't connect with the people around you, seek out queer people. Find out where queer people hang out. Is there a specific lesbian bar in your area? Is there a drag show night? Is there a dance studio? What kind of things do you like to do? Even if you don't know exactly where queer people spend their time, it's good for you to just get out in the world and start doing the things that you like to do, because that way you will find other people who like to do those things too. And yes, this takes courage, but being queer takes courage. That's why we talk about our pride. Find another friend. If you have someone with you who's willing to get out there with you, go out and find queer people and get connected into your community. The internet is amazing, and it's so good for connecting those of us who are not able to go out into the world and find people. And if that's your only option, find queer communities online. But real life can be so satisfying, and the connections that we get to build and spend time with each other in person can be so meaningful. So that's my second bit of advice. Get out there and meet people. My third bit of advice is to get a therapist. That might sound ridiculous, and even myself, I laugh a little bit after bringing up that third piece of advice, but let me tell you, you will do yourself and the people who you love so much good by taking care of yourself and addressing the issues that you have inside that you need to work on. We all have them. We don't need to lie about it. We all have areas that we can work on, and we all have a unique story. Not all of us are traumatized, but many queer people are. We grew up in environments where we weren't accepted and had to get used to changing the way that we are to please other people, and many of us experience downright hatred from the people around us for who we are. So it's really important to take care of yourself, and I think the best way to do that is from a younger age, seeking out a therapist and just finding somebody who you can have by your side to talk through life with, because even though life gets better, in some ways it does get harder. People die, projects that you start fail, jobs end, money runs out. Those things happen. Those things make life difficult. But if you have somebody on your side, especially if you've already found somebody when you're in a relatively good place, you'll feel that much better when you're going through something difficult and you already have somebody to talk to. Look into that option if it's something that you haven't already considered so far. And as just a bonus one, of course, for non-binary, trans people, make sure you get the medical care that you need. I think that taking care of our mental health is really important, and maybe even more important than addressing the physical issues. They obviously go hand in hand, but you'll be able to talk through some of the questions that you might have about transitioning. Those can be really helpful to work through with a therapist. For me, I have a very queer-friendly therapist that was important to me from the get-go. I went through my rounds of people until I found somebody who was right for me, and I'm so happy to say I've been working with my therapist now for 5 years. She has given me a lot of the confidence that I've needed to go into the medical situations that I feel the need to engage in, and because of that, I feel doctors take me more seriously because I can come with confidence and certainty. So absolutely seek out the medical care that you need, because that will help all around in just feeling more whole and feeling good in yourself. Over the last more than a decade that I've been out of the closet, I have had so many amazing lovers, partners, and friends, and their love can be just pure bliss and can make me feel so full and so good. But the love of other people is always a temporary high. What will really last is to have that good layer of self-love underneath it all. Love comes and goes, and in those moments when it goes, you really need to have a foundation of love for yourself to keep your head above the water. So that's why I find it so important to find the place where you can call home and where you can feel comfortable, a community of people that can support and inspire and love you, and good care for your mental health and your physical health. Those things, I think, will make sure that your life will be on an upward climb as you grow into yourself, start your adulthood, and take on the world. I can't promise that nothing bad will ever happen to you. I can promise you that you're strong enough to get through it, whatever it is. Much love. Until next time.